Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dragalia Weekly. It's been a very slow week in Dragalia Lost, as we've pretty much just had the continuation of the Skyborn Spectacle raid. We also had some double drops for Wind Ruins, and now for Midgardstormer's Trial, as well as this double stamina recovery that ends today. So there's been grinding to do, but not much actual new content or interesting content. I also made a decision early at the beginning of the month that with this being the anniversary month, I was going to try something new for the first time. So I bought the 30-day stamina recovery pack and wings recovery pack. For 500 diamantium, that lets you refresh your stamina and wings once per day. So that, with the double stamina recovery, has kind of made Dragalia Lost feel like more of a chore than anything this week. And honestly, it's probably the least engaged I've felt with the game. Now, thankfully, there is some exciting stuff around the corner, and I'm hoping that will kind of rekindle my interest. Because last week in Dragalia Weekly, I posted that video on Saturday, August 31st. The very next day, we got what's ahead for this month, essentially, in Dragalia Lost. And I didn't actually get a chance to look at that with y'all, so I'm going to do that in this week's Dragalia Weekly, and then I'll also talk about just some of my projects and things that are keeping me motivated in the game, even when there's content droughts like this one. So, as far as this what's ahead for this month, or this month in Dragalia Lost, I'm not sure if this is actually going to replace what's ahead, or if this is a special thing because it's the anniversary. But the first part is just a lot of redundant information about Skyborn Spectacle, Windswept Warriors. But if you're only reading this in one place, I get that that's why they probably include this. Then we have next week, Chapter 10, coming to the campaign. As the Alberian royal siblings assemble, the identity of the other will finally be revealed. This will surely prove to be a crucial chapter that brings the story to a critical point. I hope you're ready for it. This is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this. It's right around the corner next week, so hopefully it's good, but story chapters are not a long form of content, and that's kind of a theme and something I'm really hoping for with the anniversary is an actual mode, because a lot of this content right now, it looks like it will be quick to run through. Besides Chapter 10, we're also going to get Void Nidhogg as a new Void enemy, and what that means and what we'll see later is that, indeed, High Zodiarch's trial is right around the corner. It looks like they're continuing what they started with Void Jean, where they're giving the Void battle before the actual High Dragon, which is great. Gives you some hints at what the High Dragon might be like, lets you start crafting your weapons and preparing yourself, and I'm assuming this is going to be kind of like the Void Endeavor period for the month, because every month there is a period where they encourage you to do Void battles, get some Endeavors done, and you can trade for your monthlies in the treasure trade. So that's probably going to be good next week. And additionally, there's going to be new summonable adventurers during the second week of September, but you'll get more information on that later. So I'm guessing that's going to coincide with both of these, and the current event ends around the 12th. So that's kind of when I'm thinking these will come out, but maybe they'll come out sooner than when the event ends. As for the new summonable adventurers, they might tie it to the story, or they might give something that is of the light element because it would be good against Void Nidhogg and High Zodiarch coming up. That said, I don't think they're really going to try squeeze in an event rerun here. I could be wrong, but I feel like they would have just mentioned it in this preview of the month ahead, especially if it's a rerun. We also know that Astral Raids are happening every other weekend in September, so even if they rerun or do an event, it would be a facility event, not a raid, or some other type of event, like a story event. So I think there's a small chance that we get a light facility event rerun, specifically the circus event with Annalie, because that one had a non-limited showcase, a regular showcase. So they wouldn't need to bring back that showcase. They could have a new showcase with new summonable adventurers. But I still feel like that's a lot to cram in, so I'm not sure they'll do that during the period where everybody's going to be wanting to play Void Nidhogg and the story. In any case, for Astral Raids, like I said, we're going to get those every other weekend the rest of the month, and Shishimai will make its first appearance. It's interesting that they call out Shishimai because there's other raid bosses that haven't shown up. Like there's Thanatos, there's Qitian Da Shang. Neither of them have actually showed up as Astral Raid bosses, so my hope would be all three get featured here. But I kind of feel like they might rerun Fraganoth as a way to celebrate the anniversary of the game. And it makes it seem like with Shishimai being called out, the other two might just be past Astral Raid bosses we've already gotten. I'm really in need of augments still, so I'll take more Astral Raids. I do recommend saving your Astral Pieces for the next month once you get the augments out of the treasure trade. That's what I've done, so I already have all my augments from the treasure trade for this month, but just by playing the raids, you do get augments from that, so I'm looking forward to picking some of those up. Then on the 15th, we're going to get Mercurial Gauntlet, and it says one element will be receiving new quests. We'll share which element. It's not plural, so unfortunately, my hope was we would get to level 40 or something a little bit lower in both Shadow and Light, rather than going all the way up to 50 in a single element. Because I feel like with all this other stuff going on in the anniversary month, I don't know how much time I'm going to have to dedicate to the Gauntlet, but this month, or the past month rather, has been kind of boring because I finished the Gauntlet in like 3 days. So I hope I get a little more content out of this, but at the same time, with actual new events happening and the anniversary and everything, I don't want this to be a huge time sink either. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but Shadow would be easier for me. Like my Shadow team is better, so I guess Light Roy would be easier for me. If the Roy that comes out is Shadow Element and I have to use my Light team, I could be in a lot of trouble here. So I'm kind of excited. I do like the Gauntlet, so I'm looking forward to that coming out. Then we're going to get High Zodiarc's Trial on September 19th, so hopefully I can finish all my adventures in the Mercurial Gauntlet before then. As for High Zodiarc's Trial, it's awesome that all 5 elements will now have advanced dragon trials. I think High Zodiarc is going to bring a good combination of high damage and high HP. Going to be hard to take down. And Light is kind of just an awkward element. There are a lot of powerful adventurers, but I feel like a lot of them are kind of gimmicky in their kits. If High Zodiarc comes out and has 0% paralysis res though, Yachio, Floor, Summer Cleo, they're going to be amazing for that fight, I think. So that should be exciting to see how that turns out. I don't have a really good dragon for it, and my initial thought was to try Rush High Jupiter's Trial and max unbind it. That's part of why I did my refresh pack for Wings and Stamina, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to max unbind High Jupiter by the time this comes out anyway. So at this point, I'm kind of just focused on my Light Fafnir, my Light Dracolith, and getting everything else I can up and ready, getting all of the insignias I need so I can trade for the Wormprint for this, saving up Consecrated Water. But yeah, I'm planning on playing it around the time of its release, probably that weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to take it out. And the last thing that we got for this month is, since the game's first anniversary is just around the corner, a countdown bonus and limit time endeavors start on September 19th, so that same day that High Zodiarc comes out. We'll reach the official anniversary on September 27th. We've got a lot of events cooking for this, but you'll get more info on those in a different notification. So the cooking thing, and the fact that if you look at this artwork, it's all about cooking, is a hint, I think. Then again, the last anniversary countdown, which was for the half anniversary, we sort of had everyone dressed up in like suits and nice outfits, pretty dresses, and I don't really think that became anything. So you never know, it could just be like a cute theme. But it would be really awesome if there's actually like a cooking event, maybe a cooking story event, or maybe like a cooking mode. Maybe cooking is a new type of crafting or something that you can do that's like maybe a way to have some fun with your alliance members. Like there's a lot of things they could do with cooking, and maybe I'm just hyped up about it because, you know, Curry Dex is coming out, Breath of the Wild had good cooking. But I'm kind of big on cooking mechanics, so I'm hopeful for this. It's probably just going to be an event, and maybe we're like making a cake or something for the anniversary. Maybe we get a facility out of this. But either way, like, the artwork is cute. The posts that we'll probably see on the Twitter that are going to surround the anniversary are likely to be amazing in their artwork. There's lots of ways they can celebrate the anniversary and make it feel special. And when I read through this, I feel like we really still have no idea. We know a lot of cool things that are coming in September, but this portion, the anniversary portion, is still a big mystery. So I'm looking forward to it. But I will say, like, this being such a slow week, I don't know. I really want there to be something really great for that anniversary week. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to talk about in today's video was just my progress in the game, some of my goals over the short and long term, the things I'm working on in Dragalia Lost that kind of keep me motivated and keep me wanting to play. I want to start us off with our Halidom since I've been working on that a lot this week. Essentially, all of my excess stamina, all of my excess wings have been going into Imperial Onslaught because I actually did run out of coins entirely, Diurnal coins, to level up my dojos. So this is kind of the current state and situation of my Halidom. I try organize by element, so anything that uses red insignias or is flame element is up here. This part is water element and blue insignias. Here is vermilion insignias and light element. Shadows kind of in this corner down here, and then winds right here in the center. So that's kind of how I organize my Halidom. As for what I'm working on, right now I'm working on wind altars, getting both to level 35. This is a tip that I give to a lot of players, is use whatever events are happening as a guide on what facilities to invest in. At some point you have to pick and choose because your builds are taking way more than an hour or 30 minutes. And when it comes to that point, you can say, hey, a wind raid is happening right now, Skyborn Spectacle is happening, I want wind adventures for that, let me start investing in my wind altars. And typically, by doing it that way, you will also have access to those double drop events, like the Wind Ruins double drops where you can get more orbs. And so that's kind of the way I've approached it. Because of that, during past events, I was able to max out my altars. So during the Shishimai rerun, I maxed out Shadow altars. Then during Flames of Reflection, the Ramona event, I maxed out Flame. Then during the first summer event with Siren and Barbary, I maxed out Water. And during the second summer event, I maxed out Light. So now that we've gotten a Wind rerun, I'm maxing out Wind. And that's kind of the strategy I use. I have 2 Smith Worms on that right now, but after this event, I will be done completely with altars. So I'm going to have to find a home for those. As far as my dojos, my prioritization was build the dojos where I'm more likely to use those types of units in my gauntlet teams. So one of the first investments I made and the first dojo I got up to level 31 was actually the Wand dojo, because I knew I was going to have Gala Cleo in all my teams, or it seemed very likely at least, that even if I didn't have Gala Cleo, I would have to have some type of wand, maybe Noelle, maybe Student Maribel if I had gotten lucky and summoned her. So I think Wand's a safe investment. You want that skill damage co-ability. I also did Axe to level 31 pretty quickly because Axes like Ramona are very powerful, Karina is very powerful, and they're very good under AI control. Linyu's another good example, Curran is a good example. They just have a really good amount of damage from their basic attacks. Their basic attacks kind of have a flatter SP gain, so even if you're interrupting their combos by activating skills like the AI sometimes does, it's not as huge a detriment to them. And so that's one of the reasons why I went for Axe next. The Bow AI, also really good, and with Eleanor being my favorite unit, of course, I had to bring Bow up to 31. So that's why Bow is at 31. Blade, typically going to be the adventurer I control in most gauntlet runs, because otherwise a Blade will sometimes force strike through Roy and outside of Gala Cleo's buff zone. So blades also have the strength co-ability, which means even if you're not controlling them, you probably want them in your comp. That's why blades at 31. And then sword, a little bit of an unusual choice, but I felt like I just had better sword adventurers than lances, daggers, or staffs, which are the other 3 dojos. Adventurers like Wedding Elisan, Marth, even if you're not controlling them, they will be weaker, obviously, but the buff and debuff capabilities that they have are still very good. And when you look ahead to something like the Shadow Gauntlet, there's a lot of good light swords, like Albert and Odetta, so that's why I went with sword. And at this point, my other dojos that aren't at 31 are all at 27, so both my staff dojos are at 27, daggers are at 27, and so are lances. What I've found is that actually I might need to invest into some of these now because my candidates for High Zodiarch's trial are probably going to be staffs and lances for the most part, so I'm looking to get some of these higher up. And my first priority before getting any dojo to 35 is to get all of them to 31. So once I get my Smithworms off these wind altars, I will probably put both Smithworms on lances and focus on that, getting that higher for my Halloween Elisan. Then I think I'll do daggers just because staffs don't really have a place in the gauntlet, but a dagger at least might. And I'll probably finish with staffs. Once all of them are at 31, at that point, obviously I have to try at least to make the world's strongest Eleonora, and I have been slacking, so once I get everything to 31, I'm going to try get bows to 35. Besides that, Eleonora has her Wind Dracolith level 20. All my Dracoliths are level 20, or in the case of Light, they're on their way there. That's another way you can use double drops when there's double drops for Dragon Trials. Get all of the orbs you'll need to level up that Dracolith. You can use your ashes, you can use your honeys to do that. If you do that, then you won't have to worry about that in the future. So that's the approach I've taken. All of my Dracoliths are maxed out and Light's on the way. However, my Fafnirs are not maxed out because I don't play High Dragon Trials that much. So Wind right now is only at level 24. And you can see there's going to be some bottlenecks here for sure, especially with me playing High Jupiter's Trial, High Zodiarch's Trial. So eventually I'm going to get this to level 30 for Eleonora, but even if you look at the time to finish, 6 levels on this is going to take at least 20 days. So it's probable that I won't finish my Eleonora until November, maybe December at this rate. And this is where Dragalia Lost has kind of become a long game for me lately because all these builds are extremely time consuming, so there's less immediate gratification for sure. Other than that, my other Fafnirs are kind of just sitting at 16. My light one is only at 6, but I'll probably level that up over the next couple weeks before High Zodiarch releases to get it to 16. So what I'm thinking is once these are done, I'll put these on the Lance dojos. Once the Dracolith is done, I'll put that on the Fafnir. And then this one, the Dagger dojo, that will probably go to whatever light slime statue we get. Because when Void Nidhogg releases, we will likely get a light slime statue alongside that. And the later level builds on those slime statues take a while, so I want to start on that as soon as possible. That's kind of what's going on with my Halidom, so let's take a look at my dragon collection. With the dragons, I do tend to just bond with every dragon. I'm not very strategic about, excluding dragons because it's better strategically to have a lower dragon time. So right now, in Flame, the only dragons I haven't maxed bond with are the 3 stars. In Water, it's the 3 stars and Original Mercury. In Wind, it's Freya, Original Midgard Stormer, and the 3 stars. Mostly because Freya's a recent addition, but I'm also thinking, if I use Freya on Noelle, maybe I want to keep Freya at a lower bond so I can transform back into Noelle more quickly. I'm honestly not sure on that yet. For Light, right now I'm actively working on Taka Mikazuchi, but again, the Story Dragon and the 3 stars are the ones that are at a low bond. And same with Shadow, Zodiarch, and the Story Dragons. Zodiark and the 3-star dragons. So yeah, I'm kind of running out of dragons to bond here, but even just having 4 in each element, or 3 in the case of flame, that's going to occupy me for another couple months. I don't go out of my way to grind clovers or anything. It looks like I have one here, so I'll give that to Takamikazuchi. But in any case, I plan to get Takamikazuchi up to bond level 30 before High Zodiark releases, just in case he happens to be the dragon I use and the investment that I make for that fight. As far as my actual collection of dragons, in terms of levels and unbindings, I guess we can get a look here, or maybe we'll just go into the collection page and just look at it there. But right now I have it sorted by might. I'll sort by level. So the only 5-star light dragon that I have max unbound is Jeanne d'Arc, so I'm thinking I'll probably play a healer for that fight, and hopefully this will work out. This is actually the only dragon that I've just max unbound at 5-star organically, just by summoning. Everything else has taken Sunlight Stones, like Jeanne d'Arc, Water Edition, Konohana Sakaya, I spent 3 stones on. Pazuzu, I spent 4 stones on. Jeanne was 3, I want to say also. And Shinobi, I spent 4 on. So all my stones went into these, and now I have about 2 left. So right now, among my light dragons, there's kind of some candidates like Gilgamesh and Takamikazuchi, but I would prefer not to have to invest on those if I can get Cupid or a light skill dragon. I pretty much keep every dragon like 1 copy max level, and then for the 4-star strength dragons, I'm just holding on to a reserve copy in case I need to level it up for Mercurial Gauntlet. These are max unbound, but they're not max level because I don't have that much dragon fruit. But I did take 1 gold Fafnir to max level. So that's kind of the dragon situation. Adventurers, I think you'll feel that the longer you play this game, the easier it is to have mana, to have orbs, to have scales, and eventually you can max out your adventurers for their rarity class. So that's pretty much what I've done. Everybody is at the highest level possible for their rarity, and everybody's at the highest mana circles possible for their rarity, excluding the use of like more restricted items. So my 5 stars are not necessarily at 50 nodes because I don't have that much Eldwater to throw around or that many Champion's Testaments, but they're all at least at 45 nodes. 4 stars are at 40 nodes, and then 3 stars are at 30 nodes. That's kind of something I think you can just do with time if you are proactive, if you're playing dailies, and if you're dumping most of your extra ashes and honeys during double drop periods. That is really the key, is just stockpiling these when a good double drop happens, specifically double drop IO, but also, you know, things like doing the double drop ruins to get enough orbs for your altars. Well, you can kind of cash in, and then that will go a longer way. But with Void Battles, we can now exchange monthly for mana. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can get the resources you need to power up your entire roster, so I feel like it's an early game choice who you want to invest in, but if you keep playing the game, you can just invest in everyone. As far as weapons go, I am trying to craft every 5-star elemental core weapon, and right now I am missing several of them. I'm missing about 15, I want to say, maybe a little bit less. So I still need to craft a shadow sword. I still need to craft a water and light blade. I still need to craft a water and light dagger. And if you're noticing a theme here, it's basically that I have crafted all of the 5-star elementals that have an attack skill, but not the other ones necessarily. So I still need to craft a light axe. I still need to craft a water and wind lance. I have all the bows. I need to craft a wind and flame wand. I was going to say staff for a second. And I need to craft the flame, water, and wind staff, but those are like the lowest priority. Right now, I could make up to 8 additional 5-star weapons if I dismantle Eleanor's bow, because that's max unbound, and if I dismantle Cleo's wand, because that's max unbound. So if I were to make those, I could pick up the other 2 blades, I could pick up the sword, pick up the 2 daggers, pick up the axe, and the 2 wands or the 2 lances. So there's around 5-ish weapons that I couldn't craft, but I think by the anniversary, if I just get like 2 more sands after the Mercurial Gauntlet update, I should be able to round out my collection, except for maybe these staffs, because they're kind of bad. There's not really even a reason to craft these other than to flex, but I want to craft as big a collection as I can, just so I can actually show things off in gameplay and videos. Otherwise, I would probably invest more heavily in single characters like I have with my Eleonora, where instead of dismantling this, I would just keep it max unbound. Finally, for Worm Prince, my focus with Worm Prince when Augments came out was to get Resounding Rendition up to its maximum. I was able to do that, and so since then, I've been focused on 2 Worm Prints. One is Seaside Princess. I want to get as many strength augments on this as possible, since this is a Worm Print I anticipate using in every gauntlet. And then the other one is Suddy Rabbits, and this one I'm putting as many HP augments on as possible, since I plan to use this mostly for memes, but also because I want to have the highest possible survival rate. And this one, with its defense and HP ability, it's probably the best Worm Print to put HP augments on. So other than that, as far as my Worm Print collection, everything you're seeing here is max level, but I've sorted it by might just because it tends to put my better Worm Prints at the top. I use a lot of these Worm Prints, but some of them, like Kicking Back, the reason this is max level is just because Worm Prints used to be summonable and they weren't in a shop, and so anytime I got a Worm Print from the gacha and randomly had enough copies to max unbind it, I would max level it. So for that reason, over time, I've put a lot of Consecrated Water into prints that I really never use, but I just don't want to sell them or get rid of them just yet because I might need them. So like things like Plunder Pals that are strictly outclassed now, at the time, this was like my best Worm Print, so I had to put that much Consecrated Water into it, but if I could, I would take that water out, get a copy of Valiant Crown, which I don't have, or get a copy of Lucas Prank, which I don't have, that are strictly better. So yeah, there are some old holdovers here that are no longer that good. And then these things at level 10 tend to be like random drops or things I want to level up eventually, but just haven't had time to level up. So they're just sitting here at the bottom, and I have a lot of fodder here as well. That's pretty much it as far as my collection. In terms of projects for Worm Prints, I already talked about the augment ones. If I were to purchase anything coming up, it would definitely be Twinfold Bonds. That Worm Print looks awesome, and I would like to make use of that. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope that you have a great week ahead. I'll show you one last thing that I am still working on the game, which is I don't have this endeavor finished. I don't know when I will finish this. At the rate I dismantle weapons, it's a little hard for me to boost my might that high. But in any case, once again, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you have a great week ahead, and hopefully I'll be seeing you more frequently with the anniversary content and exciting new things like the story chapter coming out. I'm going to try going back to my older format where I release more frequent videos. I think that I just want a change of pace, and I feel like that was a little bit better from a consumption standpoint because you knew exactly what you were getting when you clicked on a video. So I'm thinking to try that out for the anniversary, hopefully be able to juggle that and work, but we will see how that goes. Hopefully I'll see you with a Chapter 10 video up next. Thank you so much for watching once again and listening to me ramble on about my collection. Have yourself a great week once again. Take care, and I'll see you next time.